The most anticipated movie of the summer is officially here. So let's go ahead and talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Hey friends, welcome to the Disney Pastor. I'm your host Tim. I talk all things Disney, which includes Marvel Studios. There are spoilers for this review, so if you don't want to be spoiled for this movie, which I highly suggest you just don't get spoiled for this movie, I'm going to go over the good, the average, and the bad of this movie, give you my final thoughts, overall rating. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Ooh, that's good.
The first thing we got to start off with this movie is the two leading stars, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. These guys have been friends for years, and this movie has been a desire for so many people for so long with these actors, and the fact that they brought it together, but at the same time, they brought their A game with everything they did. I mean, good gracious. The acting by both of these guys was absolutely top notch. It was done very well. It was great to see Ryan Reynolds, of course, step into the Merc with the Mouth once again. He does a fantastic job, and I could not picture another actor playing Deadpool. And for Hugh Jackman, of course, back in 2016, he announced that Logan would be his final Wolverine project. And I mean, for someone who didn't grow up with the X-Men comics or the X-Men animated series, Hugh was my Wolverine. When I first discovered Marvel and watching the X-Men movies, he was my Wolverine. And so for him to not just come back with the yellow suit, the iconic suit, but to come back in a new and fresh way that doesn't feel like it's doing the same Wolverine stuff that we've seen throughout the Fox X-Men franchise. It felt very unique and different. This Wolverine was different, still being played by Hugh, which is fantastic, but man, it was absolutely just done very well. And that was the biggest worry, right? When they announced that, oh, Hugh was coming back as Wolverine, the biggest thing I had was like, okay, how is this going to honor Logan? Because Logan is a absolutely phenomenal film. I'd argue it's one of, if not the best comic book movie of all time. They did a really solid job, and they nailed these roles, and oh, I'm so happy we got these two to be on screen together in their iconic roles. It's just chef's kiss. So good. One of the other things I really enjoy about this movie is the references. I mean, you're talking about the multiverse, so you're already going to have a bunch of references, but what they did very well here was in any reference they had, I mean, sure, there were jokes made at the expense of a lot of different things because it's a Deadpool movie. You're going to see jokes being made about almost anything under the sun, and it was a treat to kind of find the different little references, not just to the comics, but also even to the Fox X-Men, but even not just that, like Fox Marvel in general. Seeing Ray Park as Toad, seeing Tyler Mane as Sabretooth again, seeing Chris Evans as freaking Johnny Storm. You know, it was a cool tie-in, and I guess that leads me into the other part. Cameos were done very well here. There was a lot of speculation, and a lot of it was pretty much hit on the head of all these guys. And so to see Wesley Snipes' Blade, to see Jennifer Garner's Elektra again, to see freaking Channing Tatum as Gambit, never thought we'd get that, and that surprised the absolute heck out of me. The costume did look a little funky on him, I am being honest, but man, I mean, I'm not even gonna complain. It was cool to see him. It was cool to see Laura again, X-23. Golly, that was awesome. Cameos overall were just done very well, and some of them were, a lot of them, like, sure, they're like cameos in the sense of like, oh, we get to see these characters, but they also had a part of the story. They helped to flesh it and drive it forward, which that's what cameos should be. And it's done very, very well here, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the other things I really appreciate about this movie was, of course, the humor. It's Deadpool. There's going to be humor. It's going to be raunchy. It's going to be wacky. It's going to be over the top and absolutely insane. And it was. There were a lot of great humor moments. A lot of them were just like, oh, they went there. That was funny. A lot of great fourth wall breaking. A lot of, more digs about Disney and Fox and Marvel than I was really expecting, and it was done very well. A lot of great moments of humor. I laughed a bunch with this movie. One of the other things I really love about this movie, and really just the Deadpool movies in general, is the character and emotional moments in this film. There are a lot of great character moments, emotional moments in this movie. Logan and Laura's conversation at the fire was done very well. Hugh had a lot of moments that were very emotional, from obviously expressing rage to expressing just such a depressing version of the character. And it was cool to see that whole journey and even the character arc that he goes on through this movie as well. But it was cool to see even Deadpool. I mean, of course, this is his movie, but for him to get continuing to flesh out his character, continuing to have his emotional moments. Again, there was a bit more of finding himself. This one was, I want to matter, as kind of the driving force of the story. That was cool, and I love that. And I think that is what makes the 3 Deadpool movies so strong, is there is a core message that Deadpool Wade Wilson goes through in each one. And this one being, I want to matter, is very relatable for a lot of us. We all want to matter. We all want purpose in our lives. And so to see that in this story was done very well. Even though it is a newer version, getting to see him kind of feel good about wearing the iconic yellow and blue suit, to him donning the mask, which was a great character moment. I absolutely loved it. And I'm so happy that the mask was donned. It was very nice. I appreciated it very, very much. And it was just done well, and it was very thought out. And that is, again, what makes this movie, but also the Deadpool movies at large, very, very good.
Something good, something bad, a bit of both.
The biggest thing for me is the story. I don't hate the story. I think overall it's done quite well. There are a few clunky moments in here where there is a lot of just quick move on to the next thing when a character was doing something different. The biggest thing I think of is like when Cassandra is in Logan's head. And I mean, you can see that his character, he wants peace. That's been a big part of his character journey. He wants peace. And so when he gets that, it was kind of like, oh, I got, you got me, you psych, I actually got you instead, when it doesn't make sense for the character to have that quick of a shift. There's some clunkiness. At the same time, it does take a little bit to really kind of get going. I do love that they kept the same style as the previous films of, we're going to have a jump back to a certain amount of days or weeks to kind of see what led up to this. So I appreciated that for sure. But overall, it was a solid story, but it definitely could have been better. The other thing here is going to be the villains. And the hard part is that, I mean, the X-Men franchise has a lot of great villains. And introducing Cassandra Nova, which isn't, I'd say, a very popular character, unless you're really heavily invested into the comics, you're not really going to know her character super well. I didn't know her till I Googled her and figured out, okay, this is who she is, and they explain it as part of the movie. Emma Corrin does a really solid job acting here. The character in it of itself is okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's pretty solid. Paradox is also fine. I don't hate him, I also don't love him. And so the villains here could have been a little better.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
My only complaint and my only gripe that I really have of this movie is going to be the marketing. They over-marketed this big time. I don't think you needed to do this much. You didn't need 3 trailers. You don't need 50,000 TV spots. You didn't need to reveal Laura being in the movie before you see it. I think it would have been a much better payoff having her be a surprise, like some other characters were in this. It could have been done better.
And so our journey comes to an end.
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. These are wacky, raunchy, absolutely audacious, and zany movies, right? They are over the top in action, in humor, in gore, in innuendos. It's everything under the sun. It's what you expect from a Deadpool movie, and that is good. There are a few things here which I wish could be better, namely the story. The villains could be better. I think it could have been marketed a lot less, but that's not against the movie. That's just a gripe I had in terms of the pre-movie part of it. But overall, this is enjoyable. I think I speak for a lot of us. I never thought we'd get this movie. When Hugh announced that he was done as Wolverine, I mean, he even admitted it himself, like he thought that was it. We all thought that was it. And Logan is beautiful and has done very well. But man, to see him come back, give it his all, add some new flavors, some new wrinkles into the live action interpretation and lore to Wolverine in a sense. To see him don the iconic costume, to see him put the mask on for the first time. Man, I was giddy. Like, again, I didn't grow up with the comics, but the more I see around me of comics, the more I talk to other people who enjoy Marvel, this was something I wanted as much as everyone else did. And I'm so glad we got it. Overall, I give this a 9.2 out of 10 with a fun factor of an A. Again, there are things I wish were better, but overall, it is enjoyable. It is fun. I've rambled on way too much on this movie. Man, I am very thankful we got it. I'm thankful Hugh said yes to do this because holy cow, what a ride. With that being said, let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. I would love to chat all things Marvel down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Helps me know what you like, what you don't like. And if you're new around here, I want to say a very special welcome to you. Be sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell to be notified for more videos just like this one. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Goodbye.